Dear students, in this video I am going to explain you degrees of comparison. Beta, in your English language paper 1, question number 5 D part, you usually get questions on degrees of comparison where you are asked to rewrite the sentences without altering the meaning of sentence. So let me remind you what is an adjective. Adjective is anything that describes noun. So here in this case, in interchange of degrees of comparison, we change the degree of comparison of an adjective in a sentence without changing its meaning. So let's understand what are degrees of comparison with this simple example. Suresh is fat. So in this first sentence, we are saying that Suresh is fat. We are not comparing Suresh with anybody. In second sentence, we say Mohan is fatter than Suresh. In the second sentence, we are comparing Suresh and Mohan. We are saying that Mohan is fatter than Suresh. In the third sentence, we say Ramchand is the fattest of three. Ramchand is the fattest of other two. So, we are comparing more than two persons in the third sentence. Here in these three sentences, fat, fatter and fattest are three degrees of comparison. When we make these comparisons, the adjective we use change in form. So we have changed form of fat in second and third sentence. So these are degrees. In this case, in first sentence, fat is positive degree, fatter is comparative degree, and fattest is superlative degree. Fat here is simple form of adjective. Fatter here is higher degree of quality than the positive. So positive is fat, but fatter is higher degree. See, when we compare Mohan with Suresh, we are using higher degree of comparison here, that is fatter, to compare Mohan with Suresh. And in third case, fattest, this is the superlative degree of comparison which is used for more than two, when more than two nouns are compared. So here we are comparing Suresh, Mohan and Ramchand. So more than two nouns are compared, and we always use the in front of superlative degree of comparison. Let's understand three degrees of comparison in detail before we proceed further. The first one, as I already told you, is the positive degree. It is the simple form of adjective and it is used when no comparison is intended as such. For example, Aruna is a clever girl. But I want to tell you another thing here, beta. This form of comparison of adjective is used to compare items when combined with as. So you need to remember the adjective should have as before and after the adjective for comparison to be complete. Let's understand this with an example. Ritu is as smart as Rani. So here as is used both before and after the adjective smart. So here by using positive degree, we are comparing two nouns Ritu and Rani. So that is why I told you that this form of comparison, this form of adjective, that is positive degree, is used to compare items when combined with as, provided as is used both before and after the adjective. Otherwise, positive degree is unaltered version of adjective. For example, beautiful, smart, young, happy. Now coming to comparative degree. Comparative degree denotes a higher degree of quality than the positive. It is used when two nouns are compared. So comparative degree is used when two nouns are compared, and comparative degree is used in association with than. For example, here Aruna is cleverer than Niti. Here than is used except few cases where we also use to and of other than. Otherwise, usually we use than in comparative degree. So here the example is Aruna is cleverer than Niti. So it is used in association with than. There are some other examples also, like Shilpa is taller than Smita. Rupa is more beautiful than Rita. So this comparative degree is used in association with than to compare two things. Now moving on to the next degree, that is superlative degree, denotes the highest quality. It is used when more than two nouns are compared, and it is always used with the, the. It is used before the adjective in superlative degree. The is always used before the adjective in superlative degree. For example, Aruna is the cleverest girl in the class. So the cleverest girl in the class. This is superlative degree. So again, I am repeating few rules for superlative degree. It compares three or more items, persons or groups. And this adjective is preceded by the and followed by a noun. So here in this case also, it is preceded by the is used before the adjective, and it is followed by a noun, that is girl. So this is superlative degree of adjective. Now let's understand a few rules used in degrees of comparison. Using more, most with adjectives ending with er and est, that is double comparative or superlative, is incorrect. For example, she is more prettier than her sister. So this is incorrect. Since prettier itself is comparative degree of adjective, we shouldn't use more here with prettier. This is wrong. So the correct is she is prettier than her sister. This is the correct form. Another example is she is the most prettiest girl in the class. So prettiest in this case is already superlative degree of comparison. We need not use most in this case. This is the most common error that children usually do. So this is incorrect. The correct one is she is the prettiest girl in the class. This is the correct form of using the superlative degree of comparison. More and most is used with comparative and superlative degree when more than two syllables are used in the adjective. For example, beautiful. Here the comparative will be more beautiful and superlative will be most beautiful. Again, difficult, if we say, here comparative will be more difficult and superlative will be most difficult. So here more than two syllables are used in words beautiful and difficult. Now let's understand some other points. Always include specifically who or what is being compared to in order that the reader understand what is being compared. So before you transform the sentence, you need to understand what is being compared. See, in this case, Reshma's dress is prettier than Shama. So here, see, we are not comparing Reshma and Shama. We are comparing Reshma's dress. So this is incorrect form of writing a sentence. So what is the correct one here is Reshma's dress is prettier than that of Shama. So here we are comparing Reshma's dress with the dress of Shama and not Reshma and Shama. So you need to understand very carefully before you transform the sentence that what or who is being compared. Now, second thing to remember, when different qualities of same person are compared, we should use more plus positive degree. For example, she is wiser than fairer. So this is wrong. Here two qualities of same person she are compared. So in this case, the rule for this case is she is more wise than fair. This is the correct way of writing when different qualities of same person are compared. Here are two qualities, wise and fair. When two qualities of same person, that is she, is compared, we use more plus positive degree. We write it like she is more wise than fair. This is the correct way of writing. Now the third thing to remember here is when selection of one out of two person or thing is implied, the comparative degree is followed by of the. See, usually, as I've told you earlier also, that in comparative degree, adjectives are followed by than. But here in this case, when one out of two person or thing is implied, so one out of two. So here she is wiser of the two sisters. So one out of two is implied. Here we use of instead of than. We will not say he is wiser than the two sisters. That is incorrect. We will write it, she is wiser of the two sisters. This is the correct way of writing this statement. Beta, till now whatever we have done, that was just the explanation of degrees of comparison. Now we'll be coming to changing the degrees of comparison. That is what you actually have to do in your exam. So the first form, the first part of changing the degrees of comparison, let's understand that. See, in this case, beta, superlative degree, Raman is the tallest boy in the class. This is Raman and he is tallest in the class. See, nobody else is as tall as Raman. So he is the tallest in the class. You need to understand what the statement actually means. Raman is the tallest boy in the class means there is nobody else. There is no other boy in the class who's as tall as Raman. So these are all not as tall as Raman. So the comparative degree here will be Raman is taller than any other boy in the class. See why we have used here any. Most of the children, they make mistake in many and any. So here we have used any because no other boy is as tall as Raman. Raman is taller than any other boy in class. There is no comparison of Raman, means we do not have anybody else who's as tall as Raman. So that is why we are using here any. Raman is taller than any other boy in the class. This is the comparative degree. Now coming to the positive degree. No other boy is as tall as Raman. So now you have to note the usage of taller than and as tall as. So when the tallest is used in superlative degree, means when there is only one person who possess the quality, here means like he is the tallest of the other two. Here you use taller than any other. Than any other is used in comparative degree. And positive degree begins with no other as tall as. So this is the first type of sentence when you change degrees of comparison. So in case you get a statement in superlative where the tallest is used, in comparative degree, than any other will be used. And in positive degree, the sentence will begin with no other. And vice versa. In case you get a positive statement beginning with no other, so in superlative degree, the tallest will be used, and this is how a sentence will be formed. And in comparative degree, than any other will be used, and this is how the sentence will be framed. So this is the first type of statement that I have told you how to change the degree of comparison in this without altering the meaning. Now moving on to the second changing the degree of comparison, second part in changing the degree of comparison. See children, you need to understand this very carefully. See in this part, Sharanya is one of the tallest girl in the class. So this is Sharanya. She is one of the tallest girl. Why we have not used the tallest girl in the class? Because there are other girls also who are as tall as Sharanya. So that is why here the tallest is not used. Here one of the tallest is used. When we have other girls in the class who are as tall as Sharanya. So you need to understand what is the actual meaning of one of the tallest here. That there are other girls who are as tall as Sharanya. So that is why one of the tallest is used here. So in comparative degree, how will we transform the statement? It will be Sharanya is taller than many other girls in the class. See, there are many other girls who are not as tall as Sharanya, right? So that is why we have in comparative degree, we have used many other and not any other. So Sharanya is taller than many other girls in the class. Here is the correct form of comparative degree. And in positive degree, we will write very few girls in the class are as tall as Sharanya. So only few girls in the class are as tall as Sharanya. In this case, only 2 girls are as tall as Sharanya. So very few girls are in the class are as tall as Sharanya. So this is how you will change the degree of comparison in this second form of the statement. So you need to understand, whenever the superlative degree has one of the tallest, in comparative degree you will use than many other. And positive degree will begin with very few. So these things you need to remember while you change degrees of comparison, and students, you will get to know, you will understand these things when you practice more similar kind of statements. Now let's understand that while changing from comparative degree to positive degree, or from positive degree to comparative degree, the place of subject and object is interchanged, as in this statement. So place of subject and object is interchanged while we convert comparative degree to positive degree, or vice versa. For example, a wise enemy is better than a foolish friend. So this is a comparative statement. Better is used. So here the positive statement will be, a foolish friend is not as good as a wise enemy. See here, in this case, the object has become the subject and the subject has become the object. But what else is changed here? See, not is used here. So if comparative sentence is positive sentence, this is a comparative sentence and it is a positive sentence with not used in this sentence, it changes to negative sentence in positive degree. So when we convert it to positive degree and when we interchange the subject and object, not is used in the positive degree. So this is what you need to understand. So let me make it more clear with another example. See, Ahmad is more intelligent than Fatima. So here more intelligent is comparative degree and only Ahmad and Fatima are compared. So what will be the positive degree in this case? Fatima is not so intelligent as Ahmad. So this is the positive degree where Fatima is made subject and Ahmad is made object in the statement and not is used. So this is how you compare when only two specified things are compared. This is how you convert comparative to positive degree. To wind up, beta, I need you to remember few things here. The first thing is, when comparative degree than any other is used, in positive degree, no other is used. And what will be used in the superlative degree? The plus the superlative degree, right? So this is the thing you need to remember. This was the first example that I had given you while I explained you. Let's recall. When than any other is used in comparative degree, no other is used in the positive degree, and superlative is the tallest, right? So this is the first thing you need to remember in case you get a sentence with the plus the superlative degree. In comparative degree, than any other will be used, and in positive degree, no other will be used. Now moving on to second thing that you need to remember. When in comparative degree than many other is used, in positive degree we use very few, and in superlative degree we use one of the. So again, with the second example I had explained you this. Let's recall that. See, in this case, in superlative degree, one of the is used. In comparative degree, we had used than many other. And in positive degree, we begin with very few. So this is the second rule you need to remember. That whenever in superlative degree, one of the is used. In comparative degree, than many other will be used. And in positive degree, very few will be used. Moving on to the third rule. The third rule is that when the comparative sentence is a positive sentence, it changes to negative sentence in the positive degree. So when the comparative statement is a positive statement, it changes to negative sentence in the positive degree. So this is the third thing that I explained you while I was explaining how to interchange degrees of comparison. So let's recall that again. See, in this statement, beta, this is a comparative statement. A wise enemy is better than a foolish friend. What had we done? We had converted into a negative statement using not when we used positive degree. So another thing what we had done here is that we had the place of subject and object was interchanged. Here the object became the subject in positive and the subject became the object and the statement became negative. So this is how we interchange when two things are compared. Here beta, you cannot change this statement into superlative degree. This statement cannot be converted into superlative degree. So in this case, where the statement cannot be converted into superlative degree, there are two specified things that we are comparing. Here in this case, when the comparative degree is interchanged to positive degree or positive degree is interchanged to comparative degree, the place of subject and object is interchanged. And if comparative sentence is a positive sentence, it changes to negative statement in positive degree. So this is what you need to remember. Now the last thing that you need to remember. The superlative and comparative sentences begin with the same words. If you get a statement, if you get a superlative statement to change it into comparative, and if you begin with some other word, that is wrong. So superlative and comparative sentences, they always begin with the same words. So let's recall all the examples that we have done earlier and let's see if superlative and comparative begin with the same words. See, in this case beta, superlative comparative begin with the same word. So this is the first example that I have told you earlier. Than any other is used in comparative degree, and in positive no other is used, but superlative and comparative begin with the same word. So this you need to remember, that superlative and comparative statements will always begin with the same word. In the second example also, superlative and comparative begin with the same word. One of the is used in superlative, in comparative then many other is used, and in positive very few is used, whereas superlative and comparative begin with the same words. So these are few rules you need to remember, and if you have understood the video, you should practice a few sentences so that you do not forget all the rules, and do go through the video again for better understanding. Thank you so much beta. If you have any doubt, let me know in the comment section. Thank you so much.